and welcome back to another episode of Catch That, where we get to dig into albums and eras with lovely music nerds that are in the industry or adjacent to the industry. I am Naturally Elise, and that's my bro,
JR.
And today we are welcoming back one of our favorite guests, Mr. Dark Adams. Hey.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? There were so many different albums that we could have talked about today. But when you hit me up and you were like, you have a choice of what album to discuss, I threw out the answer that everybody would want to hear. And then I gave the option I really wanted to discuss. And your response let me know I was home.
Yes, because he sent me, I think, 3 songs. And who we'll be talking about today, we'll be talking about Adriana Evans' debut. And all caps, I just replied, Adriana, like 10 exclamation points. So
as soon as I saw that, I knew. I was like, yeah.
I didn't even have to ask JR nothing, because I mean, not that I do anyway, but
Right. Let it be known, yes.
But I knew he was going to be excited about this one.
Yes, absolutely.
Because actually, we talked to on our mini fan episodes where people talk about a song. Someone picked "Tripping" off of this album, and so our brother Sin. So we got to dip our toe in talking about it. So it's dope. We'll get to like really go in depth about the whole album and the whole climate, music climate.
Yeah.
So that's crucial. That is crucial. Yeah. And there's so many layers, and this is a what if album. My brother and I talk about this all the time. This is one of our favorite albums of the era, and Marvel had What If. I got What If for albums, and this is a what if album for so many reasons. Yes. And we will delve into that. Okay. Now we're gonna lay the foundation for Adriana Evans' self-titled LP. What we need to remember is the time frame in which it was released, right? Mm-hmm. We're coming out of, it's about to be the 25th anniversary of the release of this landmark single by a woman named Erykah Badu, On and On. It was released around like December 96, right during the holiday season, going into 97. Mm-hmm. And what happened with this song was when a song blows up, and of course we know Kedar Massenberg is behind a lot of these things, and we have to remember the timeline of R&B, right? We're coming out of D'Angelo's Brown Sugar, but we're also coming out of Groove Theory, which came out at the end of 95, and that kind of springboards us into 96, into where R&B is kind of changing. Right. R&B is R&B, but the aesthetic of it shifts, just like it did in 92, just like it did in 88. And people need to like kind of be reminded, because every 3 to 5 years, a new sea change in music, and with journalists and the media and Black music and everything, you kind of have to remind people, and even casual fans coming in, because 9 to 13, every new wave of kids is coming in, and there's a new wave of people going out into something else. Yeah. And you constantly have to remind people, this is R&B. It's a head scratcher. This is R&B. It's still R&B. It doesn't sound like your grandma's R&B. It doesn't sound like your daddy's R&B. It doesn't even sound like your auntie's R&B. It ain't even in your big brother's R&B, your big sister's R&B anymore, depending on who you are. But it's still R&B. And we constantly have to remind people of that. Jump over. Mm-hmm. On and On comes out. On and On blows up. Kedar got the machine behind her. Everybody's on board. MTV, BET, VH1. Yep. How? Don't know. Everybody is on board with Erykah. So she's blowing up. She's coming through. Get out the way. Move. And everything's happening. Now, at the same time, people from Loud RCA slipped this little sampler cassette tape and an advanced CD of an artist that they signed, an R&B artist that they signed, and get it out there. They don't really do a full job. vetting who they send this advance to.
Mm-hmm.
This is crucial. And what ends up happening is this artist goes under the radar as Erykah Badu is blowing up, and her album comes out at the top of 1997. I believe February 97 is when Baduism drops, and it takes over everything.
Yep.
It's Badu mania. On and on is everywhere. Everybody's going crazy. You can't watch anything without someone talking about Erykah Badu. You can't see a video without somebody being Erykah Badu. And then in about 2 months' time, when you go outside, because it goes from winter to spring, bam, 97, everybody is on the Erykah Badu head wrap, incense, type shit. And like dudes is eating it up.
Yeah.
Calling girls queen when they wasn't doing it, wasn't doing it before the album dropped. I was there. I seen it.
Everywhere.
Yeah. It was a phenomenon. It was a phenomenon like LL Cool J only was good. But this happens. And what ends up happening in the offing is that everybody sleeps on this single that comes out by an artist named Adriana Evans. This first single, Seeing is Believing. Now, this is when I knew something was wrong. The first time I heard Seeing is Believing was not on radio, not on a promo. It wasn't from me walking in a mall or hearing it playing out of a storefront, which happened a lot in the late 90s, because promotions. There was a lot of money, being exchanged, and people had these effective ways. You could go anywhere and see a sticker, and all that. Yes, you could go anywhere and see a sticker up of this artist. Yeah. Who the hell is that? Yeah. I ain't see shit. The first time my younger brother and I ever heard Adriana Evans Seeing is Believing, we were watching BET, and it came on a show that is near and dear to everybody's heart. I've discussed it before, Video Vibrations. Video Vibrations.
Oh, yes.
It was crucial to breaking artists, but it did a lot of things with breaking artists from overseas and in different, genres that we wouldn't get to see, that wouldn't be spoon-fed to us, like Adriana Evans' single should have been. The very first time I saw it, my brother and I are like, oh, shit. Oh, as soon as it starts, you're like, oh, this is about to be a jam. Now, I need to explain something. At this time, we're talking early 1997. What we would do, this is standard practice. I had my room with my brother. We had a TV connected to 2 VCRs, right? And we had a tape in at the top to dub from like rented videos. Then we had a tape in the bottom to dub from the TV. What you did was you kept it on pause and record. And if something you liked came on, you ran to the button immediately. You didn't wait to see if it was hot, because what you could always do if it sucked, you could just rewind back, because at the time we had these things called counters on the VCR.
Oh, wow, yes.
You go back to the number, you're good. So you recorded as soon as you heard something, just like on the radio, the same principle, right? Because you want to catch the beginnings. It's very crucial back in the days of you recording videos. You want to catch the beginning, because BET used to like cut shit off at the end.
Didn't they? Oh,
like during the commercial?
Yes. They were good for that.
They would just cut stuff off. But you would pray you got the full thing, but you really wanted the beginning. So press record. Look at my brother like, oh, this is a jam. The voice. And we're like, yo, she looks familiar. Now, for those of y'all,
okay, we're going there. We're going
I'm
there.
a rap nerd. My brother's a rap nerd. He's a producer. I was in a lot of production outfits all around R&B my entire life. Y'all know the story. But the thing is that I remembered her from being in Dred Scott's Nothing to Lose video, and also singing on Check My Vibe.
Check the Vibe. Yes, sir.
Yes. And I'm like, yo, that's Check the Vibe lady. And my brother's like, oh shit, it is. Now, mind you, this is years later. We remember her. We remember that voice.
Right.
So we record the video, we stop it, rewind it, play it again. Like, yo, that's a jam. Now, here's the problem. If your video first plays on Video Vibrations and it's hot, they'll play it again on Video Vibrations. But you got to hope that it catches on with another show.
Right.
So you get to see it again. because there are plenty of videos that we know just from being straight video vibration videos, you know. And at the time, this is 97, everything's changed. So we don't have really video LP anymore. And, you know, Video Soul ain't really like the it place to go. It is for like the older artists, the older generation artists. Because now they got Planet Soul with Rachel.
Oh, Planet Groove, yes.
Yeah, Planet Groove.
Planet Groove,
yeah. Rachel. So like everything had changed. Yeah. So it was important to get on Planet Groove. And I remember seeing that and I was like, first of all, my brother and I had the question, how come the first time we're hearing that is on Video Vibrations? It ain't from the UK. It's not from France. You know what I'm saying? It's not from Japan. So if it's on a major, we should have heard this already. We should be hearing it on the radio by now. Go and find out. Adriana Evans is signed to Loud RCA. So something went wrong because we usually get promos for Loud RCA. We usually see stickers up everywhere. The street team is flustered. The street team is going to work on new signees for Loud RCA. And Loud RCA don't have an excuse for us not hearing Adriana Evans until now because they got gold and platinum plaques flying out every year, especially going into 97. Like they had a roster.
Yes.
They had a roster. So I'm like, how is it that I didn't hear this until now? But again, it's Badu everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So the single finally drops. Go and find it in the store. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. It's out. It's been distributed to the public. How is it doing? It is not climbing up the charts the way I hope it would. It is not getting burned the way it is. But all the heads, all the R&B heads, the people that know the cognoscenti of R&B are on this song, and they're having the same questions we're having. I don't know how this shit fell through the cracks. I don't know how everybody isn't jamming this. We don't know why this isn't big.
Yeah.
Right?
And the only reason that I heard it, because I never caught the video, or I just don't remember, but I feel like I would remember it because I keep remembering videos and shit. So I think I didn't ever catch it on Video Vibrations or whatever. I definitely didn't hear it on the radio, but I had a high school boyfriend that was a big music head, and he had it and let me listen to it. So that's how I was introduced to it. I never, besides him, nobody else was talking about it.
Like nobody, because that's how I first
Meanwhile,
heard it.
I was running it crazy, you know.
That's how I heard it. I heard it on I saw the video actually on Midnight Love.
Okay, yeah, that was the other place that played it later. Just like
and that was
Hell first.
Right. So that was it. So, but then after then, I didn't hear it anymore. Like y'all said, I didn't hear it on the radio. I didn't hear it they wasn't playing it like on Planet Groove like that. They wasn't doing that. The only time I ended up seeing her was on Planet Groove when she did the live joint. When she did the live joint.
And that is actually on YouTube.
Shout out to Sin. Shout out to our brother Sin. He was the one that put that video up on Instagram, on YouTube, because he said he never saw it. He recorded it that day and then he put it on YouTube, and that's him. And
so I missed the Planet Groove live thing, and everybody was telling me about it. Well, not everybody who knew was telling me about it. And I was like, God damn it. So with him recording it, I found it on YouTube. I'm like, oh, see? This is the beauty of YouTube, man. And I got crates upon crates of things, of VHS tapes that I haven't digitized. And, that's one of the beauties of actually having people who know and being there to record things, for that purpose.
So JR, that Adriana Evans video, how was it?
You could tell like Dart was getting into that. Loud didn't put anything behind her.
No.
I felt like with her, they put her out there and say, do what you got to do and hopefully it sticks. I think that's what they wanted. They wanted that and was like, hopefully whatever she do, because I saw that performance that she did on Planet Groove, and she wearing like the long dress, and she had, she looks very Whitney-ish. You know what I'm saying? But then you see the Team Summit joint, And she got on a sweater with jeans and all. It's like she was all over the place, like all over the place. And I'm like, but again, she's a hip hop head because her and Dread were hip hop. That's how they fell for each other because they were hip hop heads. They like Black Moon and all that. Like that's what they enjoy, and that's how they fell in love with each other. So I'm like, if this girl would have really got the backing that she would have gotten, it would have been a wrap. Like you said, Dar, it would have been what if, because a lot would have changed if she would have been. Because Dread, people saw what because I know we're going to get into that too. Yeah. But what he did with the album, he had real musicians playing on this album. It wasn't like what Q-Tip was doing and doing like, you know what I'm saying, finding the sample and doing all these loops. He actually had these musicians playing these songs, you know what I'm saying? So it was like it would have been different. Music would have really been different if this album would have blew up, like for real. I think he would have might been part of the Soul Aquarius if you ask me.
Yeah, like when you think about the divergence of timelines, right? When you think about the era, I talked about, D'Angelo's Brown Sugar, then I talked about Groove Theory, right? But then when you get into 97, now we're talking about Baduism, and you jump into like Maxwell and all these other albums, right? Daryl, Breath from Another, into 98, you're talking about Reese, How I Do, all these albums, right? And then you think about the albums that fell between those, like fucking Amber Sunshower, Walter T. Smith, albums like that. And this, I think this album should be up there when you're talking about like Estero's Breath from Another, Reese, How I Do, when you're talking about like Groove Theory, when you're talking about Jodeci, the Red Hotel, the After Party. All these albums occupy this space in R&B, and this album should be in that conversation. But for reasons, it's not. And when I think about what went wrong, right? Because album drops, and everybody's just like going past it, and I'm like, what was Loud focused on that they weren't focused on her? Like, who else had they signed that was doing R&B? That they were going to develop, that they decided to overlook her. Then I remember. I remember. Does anybody remember? Because I'm like, there's no copy about Adriana Evans. There's no full page ads about Adriana Evans' album until after the fact, right? There's no pre-push on Adriana Evans. So I'm like, so who did Loud RCA sign that did R&B that they devoted all their focus, all their time, all their marketing to? Developing. The answer is a woman named Davina.
What? Yo, wait a minute. Are you serious? She was not allowed to?
Yes.
I don't know why I forgot that.
Oh my God.
Because Davina worked for Loud. She was a songwriter. She was an engineer. She did a whole bunch of stuff, and they like, we need to retain her.
I don't know why my brain always forget that. It's Biggest Day, Loud.
So here's what's crazy. That album comes out in 98. But they started promoting her in 97. Why? Because the Hoodlum soundtrack comes out. And she has a single on the Hoodlum soundtrack from 97. And they promote the hell out of her. They have testimonials. They have copywritten. Hey, yo, Raekwon, say something about her. Hey, yo, Big Pun, say something about her.
Wow.
Raekwon called her a thugged out Whitney Houston. And I remember my brother and I reading that copy, and my brother saying, bro, Whitney's from Newark. Whitney a thugged out Whitney Houston.
Right. Whitney's thugged out Whitney. What are you talking about?
Yeah, she already a hood chick. What the heck?
Like, Whitney's from Newports, bro. Like, Whitney come to Roxbury and hang with the dudes and give them that with 3 fingers. Like, what are you talking about? What you talking about? Like, when people saw Whitney in the hood, this is what they did. Not right. Miss Houston, may I touch the hem of your garment, Miss Houston? It was just like, what up? Like, come on, bro. Come on. Man. So anyway, I realized that what they did was they signed Davina with the intent that we're going to get behind her her image, her marketing, we're going to push her. And then they signed Adriana Evans, and they really didn't know what to do with her because they sign her and they have her on like this Shantae Moore type wave, right? You remember Shantae Moore when she was first released, right? And like they have her in that chamber. But if you listen to the album, the final song on the album is called Swimming, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you listen, there is a sampled loop from a breakbeat. And in it you hear step back, step back. It is sampled directly from the Eric B. and Rakim song Step Back. This song was, of course, produced by Dred Scott, right?
Right.
And I'm listening to it and I'm like, yo, this woman is straight up singing. She has some sweet R&B songs, arrangements to the nines from Kissed by Angels. And then she has some songs where it's just straight up, yo, we got a break beat. We chopped this up. Then we played over it.
Right.
Hey, brother. Oh my God. Hey, brother. When I think about like songs from R&B songs from the late 90s that I can just pull out and be like, I could drop this right now and everybody's gonna lose their mind. Hey, brother is one of them. Swimming's one of them.
Yeah.
Love is all around and seeing is believing. 2 more. And she opens the album with 2 singles.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my brother and I playing the album for the first time, and we're just sitting there like looking at each other. Like, we'll just sit in silence and we look over at each other. Like, albums that we've done this with. Digital, Diggable Planets, Blowout Comb. Played that album, just looked at each other like. How they doing this shit? When we played Groove Theory, we were just like, we looked at each other like, oh shit. You know, we played Estero, Breath from Another. If you haven't heard that album, please find it. We were
Estero, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like, there are albums that we do that with. This was one of those albums. This is one of those albums where we look at each other like, we're going to have to double copy of this because there ain't no way you're leaving the house with this. Not going to happen. Like, we're going to have to burn a copy of this shit right now. So we're not fighting over it like we were used to when we was kids. That was some dumb shit. You both grabbing the same tape. Like, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. But this album had so many, and the thing was, it's a 10 song. It's a like a
12 song.
10 to 12. My mistake. 12 song album.
Yeah.
And so it's 6/6 if you put it on side A, side B. And the crazy thing about the album is that like the sequencing is bananas because it goes from the R&B ballad, slow song to the jam to the slow R&B ballads. But at no point do you feel like you are having to switch between the two. You're not code switching. It's just R&B.
Right.
It's an R&B album straight through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it ends so jamming, yo. It's like it goes out with a bang, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And the song I was talking about was actually Swimming. It wasn't In the Sun, not Swimming.
In the Sun.
Yeah, In the Sun, not Swimming. And the thing is that like, because again, this is the transition too that you have to keep in mind in my brain. 97.
Right.
97 is still a year where I'm going to buy albums, and I have to decide: do I want the cassette or do I want the CD? Because there's it's a business decision.
Yes. Yeah.
CDs cost more than tapes. However, I still have my Walkman and I have my CD player, but you can fit your Walkman in the pocket or your hoodie or your jacket or what have you. The CD player is bigger. And also, depending on which CD player you have, you shuffling around, moving on the train, shit don't skip.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the cassette joint don't skip, but you know how to take the buttons, right? There were tricks you could do with the buttons when you had it played that you had it in your joint where if you hit somebody, it's not going to move. It's not going to stop. You're not going to have to pull it back out and press record or try to find it again. And then again, this is the era of you take your Walkman out, you reverse the batteries, and then you put it in your locker or you put it in your bag just in case you fuck up and you press a button throughout the day and you come out and your shit's dead and you don't have batteries. Like, It's science.
Yeah.
This is black folk science. But we had to decide, do I want this on cassette or I want on CD? With Adriana Evans' album, we didn't have to think. I need this on CD.
Right.
I need this on CD. And usually the difference is that, side A, side B, if you have to fast forward and rewind, changes the way you see the album. Whereas with Adriana Evans' album, I wanted the CD. I wanted the CD quality. I wanted to play it in my big stereo at home, out with the people.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play it so that I have the windows open in the summer and people be walking by and they just look up at the window like, yo, that's that shit. You know what I'm saying? You want that. Yeah. But Adriana Evans' album was all of that for me. And it ended up becoming a thing where it was just trying to figure out, why isn't this album revered by everyone? And why didn't this album take off?
Right.
And I think a big another thing for me was my brother and I laugh about this to this day. If you've seen The Last Dance, when Michael Jordan is on the bus, he's jamming, and everybody's like, "What the hell is he listening to?" He's like, yeah. And people like, one of Michael Jordan's favorite albums during one of his championship runs was what? Adriana Evans.
Wow.
Yes. Michael Jordan loved this album, and Michael Jordan talked this album up to anybody who would listen. And when I heard that, I was just like, okay, we agree on something.
Right.
Because this is one of those albums that I really was trying to sell people on. I'm like, yo, you know what album you need to hear? You know what album you need to fuck with? You ever heard Adriana's album?
Mm.
And to this day, man, I go back, when there's a cold case and people try to figure out what happened to Sarah McLachlan or what happened to, Keisha Full Night, what happened to this woman that disappeared in 1997 and she had so much potential and, we don't know what happened to her. To me, this album is one of those, what could have been done different? Who dropped the ball? Who fucked up? Where did we fuck up? How did this album fall through the cracks? How? And
well, I'll tell you one of the things. Besides what Erica, besides her having the machine, a machine behind her,
mm-hmm.
she had a shtick, a look, a distinctive thing. Mm-hmm. So that played big into it. I know it did for me. It's like, oh, she looks different and she's, so enlightened or whatever.
The aesthetic and aura. And then the stories coming out about you can't look directly into her eyes on some print shit. She'll steal your man. Or did you see the lady video where D'Angelo didn't look directly in her eyes?
No, he didn't. And she was up close to him. Yes. Yes.
This is all things we talk about, right?
Yeah.
And Erica just had an it. She just had the it anyway. She had an it her whole life. Her whole life was just her being people.
You better stand. You better stand.
and Adriana didn't have that. And I feel like Loud was like, well, we're gonna have to cultivate that with Davina. We're going to have to give her an aesthetic. We're gonna have to give her a narrative, because we just put Adriana out there with great music and you see what happened, but you also didn't promote shit. You did nothing to push her.
You know too, what I found out too. I was doing research because Dart, you sound like Sten right now, because he loves this album, he reveres it. He tries to throw it to anybody that listens. And I got him this vinyl for because he finished his album that he did. And I got him the vinyl for it. And he lost his mind to it. Because it's hard to find that vinyl too. Very hard. And I found it for him and I got it for $50. And he has been telling me so much about this album. That's why I was so glad to talk to you, because I was like, yo, he's much of a fan of this album as you are. And he found interviews that she did overseas, because we all know afterwards she left after this bullshit, because she tried to play the politics and it didn't work.
It did not work
at all. So she was like, I'm out. So come to find out that this album was done in 95. It was done. Yes.
That makes so much sense.
About it And she talks about it on Planet Groove. She was like,
it should have came out next to Groove Theory because it's a similar sound of the album.
And
like it's the same kind of sound.
Yeah, so she said that after they finished Dre's album, they started doing hers. Her album was done, but she was on Capitol.
Yeah.
She was on Capitol Records, and she had the money and all that. They gave her the finance and all that. They threw Reality out there in the UK in '95, and it blew up. It blew up. So then the transition at Capitol happened. New people came in, all this kind of stuff. Then they threw her to the wolves. Like, you know, after you new people come in, you become the stepchild. So then they left her. Then she went to another label. They didn't know. So then Loud grabbed her. And then it was like, what do we do with her? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. We are hip hop based. You know what I'm saying? So we got Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, Big Pun, all them. And they was like, we just go out there and do what you do. So we're going to try to put you under this neo soul mess, which I didn't think that was right, because in my opinion, I felt like this Adriana album is like Rashawn Patterson to me. Their albums were not neo soul. It didn't have that. You know, when you listen to Brown Sugar and Groove Theory and you listen to Maxwell and Erica, it had such a depth to it. Like it got like that thick gravy, like Elise always talk about. It's thick. Mm-hmm. Her album is not, it doesn't sound like that. So if it would have came out in '95 with Groove Theory, it would have made sense. It would have been like, oh shit, okay, you got D'Angelo, Groove Theory, and her. And it would have been like, we can work her into this. And they didn't. And it was like, once she got to Loud, it was like, yeah, girl, do what you're going to do. Hopefully it stick. And I did not know what's her name was a part of that album, was a part of Loud. Adina, I didn't know that. I did not know that. I was like, you fucked me up with that one. Because I was like, huh?
And look how she was styled.
That looked like Brandy, baby.
Look at this pretty, beautiful woman, and they got her looking childlike, and
you
know, not really no makeup like that, and
that's almost exactly how G Street styled Amber Sunshower when she came out.
Wow.
That's crazy. When you go back and look at the pictures, the promo pictures and everything, that's almost exactly the same way the G Street did Amber Sunshower when she was putting out her first singles, Walter T and the Running Song.
Wow.
And
so
with,
they have her looking
with this
like
jazzy ass, and this album, jazzy as hell, this jazzy ass album, they should have her like glammed the fuck out.
Like the Groove Theory, not the Groove Theory, not the Planet Group episode. She looked like she looked like her mom, which her mom was, Mary what is it, Stallings. That's her mom, and her mom was very jazzy, so she had that influence. You had Dred Scott, who was a jazz influenced dude that put that into that sound of music, and you think it would work, but I'm like, Loud, you had a freaking gold mine in your hand, and y'all
they dropped the ball. And the crazy thing is that when they did have Davina, I felt like they tried to do all the things that they dropped the ball on Adriana Evans with. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening was the album just didn't pop for whatever reason, right? Yeah, because people were like, they looked at her, they were like, she ain't Erica. She ain't Erica.
Well, you said,
she ain't Erica.
They didn't really show her, because you think about like So Good video, it's like kind of shadowy, and like so you actually really didn't know what she looked like, honestly.
What's crazy is the So Good video. There was the So Good video, it came and went. Then they did the So Good remix video, and they had 1 million motherfuckers in that video.
Yeah.
I didn't know what she really, his was bugged out. I didn't know what she really looked like until she had like a couple cameos in the I Don't Want to Be a Player No More of the Still a Player remix video, and she's in there. I'm like, oh, that's what she looks like? Come on over to my place.
Is she in that video?
Yes, she is. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right? So
damn, I missed her.
Yeah, so and she had a video come on over to my place, and like they barely played that. So like Davina really came and went, you know, like came
This is
and
a
went.
good ass album too.
And it's just crazy when you think about like, what
When
the
it
hell was
rains.
going on? What the hell was going on? Nobody knew what to do if they weren't dealing with like a group of dudes. Actually, wait. Who signed Yvette Michelle? What label was Yvette Michelle on?
What label was she on?
Cause I know Funkmaster Flex had her. Wait, what
Oh
label?
my God, yes. And he used to drop bombs on I'm Not Feeling You all the time. Oh, I used to be like, boy, please. Like, what the heck? Oh God.
Because when you look at that era, it's just a big.
Oh, she was on RCA too.
God damn it. So it's like it was her album dropped in '97 on RCA.
Yep, she was on Loud. Yeah.
Oh shit. So she didn't have a prayer.
What?
She didn't have a prayer.
It's like we have a trend, guys.
We have a trend.
Yeah. So damn. She didn't have a prayer.
Oh my
Adriana
God.
Evans didn't have a prayer on RCA. Like I
Damn
was
it,
really
man.
thinking like everything went into Davina, but Davina's album didn't drop till the next year, and they were pushing her pushing the single for Hoodlum. But they put all the promotion into Yvette Michelle. I saw Yvette Michelle stickers up and down everywhere.
I did too.
Yeah. DJs got advanced vinyl. I got those promos. I got the Yvette Michelle promo. I got the Hoodlum promo. I never got any kind of promo whatsoever for Adriana Evans, and I was getting everything. I could go pull out some Loud folders and some pictures and press releases from that era. I got everything. I never got anything from Adriana Evans. This is the era of the enhanced CD. I ain't get shit.
And then
Not a thing.
Yvette Michelle, he had it on that 60 Minutes of Funk, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's singing on everybody's song. Everybody that he did a joint for, he snuck Yvette Michelle in there. Snuck on OC. Snuck on
because Far From Yours with OC. Far From Yours.
Loud Hangover. Snuck her on that. Like he had Yvette Michelle working overtime. He had her working day and night like a Michael Jackson song. Yes.
You are mad. But so basically, wow, you just took me somewhere else. So all these women were on this Loud RCA and they never had a chance.
No.
Basically. So it was like you went there and it was just like, okay, we're gonna do the bare minimum, but we're gonna give it all to our rappers. Because when we was on our show with Cindy, he was talking about tripping, and at least, and I think it was you, sis, you was like, if they would have put her like Adriana on a record with like Big Pun, or put her on like a hook with maybe Wu-Tang or something to get her some type of exposure so you can know her. So then, because like, again, when it goes back, it sucks that we have to compare to Erica, but what are you going to do? But with Erica, it was like you gave her the duet with her and D'Angelo. Then you had her in the freaking Lady video. You had her all over the place. So it was like, once she came on and on, it was like, boom. Oh, I know her from the Lady video. Oh, I know her from the song that she did with D'Angelo. Oh, she was in the D'Angelo video, and having that promo money all over the place.
Yeah.
It worked.
I mean, she had a high budget first video.
Yeah.
High budget. A memorable video that everybody, kind of touchstone type video. And so
you
go ahead.
You remember the trick back then? You would take an R&B singer that was like someone who did ballads, and you would take them to a location that looked like it was overseas or maybe England when they were actually on a promo tour, and you would use that to do a video, but you would shoot it with a different camera or a different lens and make it seem like it was higher quality than it was. They did that with Adriana Evans. They did it with I believe they did it with Shantae Moore with her first two videos. And sometimes that ends up working, right? It did work. And I think that they did that with Love Is All Around, and they did that with the second single, and Seeing Is Believing. And Love Is All Around, they felt like if this doesn't pop,
We don't know what to do.
We don't know what to do because we already threw all this money into Yvette Michelle, and we're gonna have to spend this money developing Davina. And again, when I realized, I was like, yo, they didn't do anything to promote her. And I realized, oh shit, all that money went to Yvette Michelle's album, which came out that summer because her album came out in the spring.
Right.
And Yvette Michelle's album came out summer. So when her album comes out and is running, they're already pushing Yvette Michelle's single.
Yeah.
And her next single. You know? Yeah. And it's insane because Yvette Michelle needed a little bit more help because Adriana Evans, in terms of the industry, I'm not talking for me, I'm just talking about, well, people gonna say what they want to, but you look at Adriana Evans, you're gonna think, we don't need to do as much in terms of image, in terms of making her look presentable or to the public versus Yvette Michelle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't want to come out and say it, but you already know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's the problem is marketing, right?
Yeah.
And the music, I'd love for the music to do all the talking, but it doesn't already happen. Case in point, we're talking about an album that didn't catch on when you think it has all the advantages.
Right.
Yvette Michelle, I guess they felt like we need to put more into trying to get her over the top. And Adriana, she's just gonna find her audience.
Right.
And she found her audience, but it wasn't the one that she deserved or she should have had. Versus Yvette Michelle, we're not going. I doubt anybody's gonna be talking about the Yvette Michelle album in any type of conversation like this. Versus Adriana's.
They only gonna talk about "I'm Feeling You" because that's what was played all over the radio like crazy, for real. But I wanted to ask you, Don. So, okay, they tried to throw Adriana in this neo soul type of vibe, right? Yeah. So this is what I was thinking. Even if they wanted to do that, right? I felt like "Love Me" might have been the single, that first single they could have started off with, because that single to me, it hits you in the head off the break, right? Just like if you want to compare to Erica, right? And you got On and On, right? And you hear that doom, 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 boom, 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 like it hits you. "Love Me," that joint comes on and it hit doom, 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 doom. So I'm like, if y'all wanted to do that, why didn't you do "Love Me" as a single? It could have really hit. You could have really even if you would have threw it to radio, I think Hot 97 would have jumped on that because they would have heard it. It would have made you want to buy. And I'm like, then you could kind of push it and maybe throw "Seeing Is Believing" and then "Love Is All Around" after Love Me, because I think "Love Me" hits you so hard, you gonna remember it. So I'm like, maybe if they would have went that as a first single, maybe stuff would have been different, or you don't think? Well, clearly you just let it be known that no girl on Loud was gonna ever succeed. So
no matter what they did, it was messed up. But I feel like when I see the first single again was "Seeing Is Believing," and it had Reality because Reality popped overseas.
Right.
So that was the side.
Right.
I felt like that was short-sighted. What they should have done was like what independent rap does with vinyl. We're gonna put 4 joints on this shit. We're gonna give you "Seeing Is Believing." We're gonna give you Reality, but we're gonna give you after that is we're gonna give you "In the Sun" and "Hey Brother."
Okay.
Those 4.
Right.
And what's gonna happen is as you know in black music, there's a phenomenon where people, you give them something and they gravitate to it and then they tell you what the hot shit is, right? But you have to put it out.
They do that now.
Yeah. So like, perfect example, I don't know if any of y'all follow K-pop or anything like that. There's a girl from a group called Blackpink named La Lisa. And she put out her first single, La Lisa, right? Mm-hmm. And they thought this was gonna be the shit that blew up. It isn't. The B-side Money is the joint that everybody's going crazy for. So that's the joint right now that's going crazy on Billboard and crossing over into like mainstream American music. If you go on YouTube right now, that video has 250 million views. 250 million views. Money, Lisa. Now, to the point I'm making, the same phenomenon happened in black music back in the day. Right. You put a song on the A side, thinking that that's gonna be the one that pop, and then the B side takes off.
I know where you're going. Yeah. Yeah.
Happened with a whole bunch of other songs.
Yep.
The B-side wins again is a statement for a reason. The way I do it is that I put this song out there. This song is going to be the video, the one we put on video. But this is going to be the song the streets respond to. This is going to be the song that gravitates, that rotates around the streets. This song's going to be on the mixtapes. This is the song that people are going to be doing blends to on the mixtapes. This is the song people are going to be dancing to. This is the song that's going to catch on at the club.
Right.
That's what happened with a lot of people don't know this. You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer was not a single. I repeat, it was not a single. You Can't Touch This broke into the R&B club and dance charts without being a single. People took the vinyl, full ass vinyl, and skipped to the song, or took the CD and skipped to the song and played that bitch in a club. The next single was supposed to be Dancing Machine for MC Hammer. Capitol had the singles pressed, ready to send them out, and then everybody said, stop! Collaborate and listen. Put this out because the new Billboard just came out, and the new reports from radio just came out, and the new reports from the club just came out, and they're playing You Can't Touch This. So burn all this shit, melt this vinyl, turn these into acetates, and put out You Can't Touch This on 12 and 7-inch. And that's how that single came out.
Know how I learned that? Know how I learned that? From your timeline?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm about to say, that's why I was like, I ain't say nothing because I'm like, Dara put that on his timeline before, so I already knew.
It's funny because last night I got hit up by one of my boys, GQ, and he was like, yo, I was at the Will Smith show, and he was talking about how Summertime was recorded in Chicago, and he shouted out Hula and K Fingers, and also shouted out Juice. And I was like, oh yeah, because I told everybody that Juice Ghost wrote Summertime, and they produced it from Chicago. You know, and then it got posted on Twitter, and everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And he's like, dude, Darn Adams told me.
You better pat yourself on the back, Dar. I know that.
But the funny thing is that someone said, no, I think Juice Ghost wrote that, and I was like, wait, what? And I went back and did the Bruce Wayne detective research, and then my boy Mega Ran actually hit Juice, and he was like, yo, Juice, Darn Adams is saying this on Twitter. Is this true? He's like, yeah, all that shit happened. And then when the story got back, he was like, nah, I was just around. I was like, bro, we already know. I was like, we already know. I already did it. I broke down the whole Da Vinci Code. I broke the whole shit. I put the branches everywhere, man. It's over. And Will Smith comes out on stage and confirms the shit last night. So it was like that shit 5 years ago on Twitter that people were like, no, it's Rakim. Shut up. And another thing I need to talk about before we get back into the discussion of Adriana Evans and this album. Nothing annoys me more than when people say that they bit Rakim's flow on Summertime. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to listen to a song by this guy named LL Cool J called The Booming System. Now, after you do that, I want you to go and I want you to listen to another song that was worked on by Hula and K Fingers and possibly even Juice, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Is the next single off the Home Base album called Ring My Bell. It's the Ring My Bell remix. And in it, Will does not rap the normal way he usually does. And he's not flowing like Rakim on this one. Who does he sound like on Ring My Bell, the remix? And there's a video, so there's no excuse for you not to see it. As soon as you see how he's rhyming, as soon as you see what he's doing in the video, it will become clear to you whom he's emulating. And the person he's emulating was the man with the biggest rap album at the time. This dude named James Todd motherfucking Smith. Okay. Now that all that's been said and that's been put to the side, we can discuss what happened with Adriana Evans.
So with that, what is so your favorite songs on it is what? Because I want to, like, you know what I always want to talk about with Adriana, like the musicians that was on it, because they had real musician players. You know what I'm saying? Rothstein Calhoun, who was playing the flute on I'll Be There. He was playing the horns on everything. I'ma say it at least. I love horns. And you know what I'm saying? You got Craig Cooper that was playing on it. You got freaking what's his name? Dwayne Benjamin. Like, and when she was on, because I need people to go check out that Planet Group performance that she did. And she's shouting out all of them because she was like, yo, we literally was in the studio jamming. Like, this was a jam session type of album. And for us music heads and nerds, when you listen to it, you feel it. You can tell they was just in there making music, and that was it. It was they didn't have nothing no label to tell them, well, you should make it like this, so you should do it like this. Drag, Adriana, and all those musicians went in there and made an album, and that's why it sounds so good. And Adriana was like, I don't want no digital nothing. I want it analog. Yeah. We are doing it analog. I don't want no digital nothing. I want them damn shits to go all the way over to when it's red. Like, I want that shit. I want the Earth, Wind, and Fire type of drums. I want all that. And for her and Dredd to do that, I'm like, that's why I'll Be There is a favorite for me, because it just shows her jazz stylings, and then she just singing, and when, you know what I'm saying, well, what's his name, Rothstein is playing that flute, it's like, oh my God, you could tell that her mother's jazz influences is all up and through this album. But again, if you're a hip-hop head, you realizing Dredd is doing a lot of these break beats that he's having these musicians play. It's like, yo, that's why, like, dog, like you said, like, the whole time I'm just staring at you because you like going in on why this album should have been bigger than what the hell it was. It was like, For me, I consider it like the R&B version of, again, Diggable Planet's Blowout Comb. Okay. Their first album, classic album, love the album, amazing, like, landmark album. I think that its production is underappreciated. However, the next album, Blowout Comb, is on another level, right? As much as we love, like, Pete Rocker, CL Smooth's, Mecca, and the Soul Brothers, the main ingredient is a step up. They're both classic. Yeah, a lot of people argue about that. Yeah.
Another damn level. Yeah. And when I think about that, the musicianship is what stands out to me. Like, the musicianship, like the ear, the notes, like you hit everything. And that's Adriana Evans' album to me. Like, musically, it stands out. Yes. Vocally, out of here. Yeah. Out of here. Blend together, bananas. You take everything that you love about hip hop and what it does with music from the 60s and 70s and sometimes the 80s, but you listen to this album and it blends it all seamlessly into an R&B album. Yes. Like, it's not trying to be an R&B album. It is. And it bothers me that you have to explain to somebody this is R&B. There's no reason to have to explain. It is what it is. And y'all are right. JR, thanks for bringing all that to my attention. This album, had it dropped in 1995, in the time it should have come out, around the Group Theory, D'Angelo, Brown Sugar era, this album would have been received different, and it would have done better because it would have been in the same space where people could have appreciated it more sonically, aesthetically. I absolutely believe that.
If it wasn't, do you think it would have been the landscape would have been a little different, right? So would have been hard for Erica then, if that was the case? Even though we said Erica had it, she got it.
If this album dropped between fall 95 and the beginning of 96, things would have still been the same for Erica. However, this album would not have been buried by Erica's wave.
Gotcha. Right. It would have been
like, I don't think anything was going to stop the Erica thing. Like that was just a destined that was going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But the thing is, for me, when I think about, I said that I had those albums that I consider like the ones that you put in the timeline, like, you know, the Stones from fucking the Marvel movies, you know, you replace them in time and shit. Like, I have Adriana Evans as one of those albums, but most people don't. Because when they think of the albums, they think of influence, and they think of like what it did it has to be an album that's sold in their minds. And the thing is that when you think about how influential Groove Theory's album is, it didn't sell 5 million copies.
Nope.
You know, but sonically it was influential. This had singles that did well, yes. It did kind of cross over, and it springboarded Amel Larue's career, yes. But it didn't, like, it wasn't out of here. It wasn't like Don't Be Cruel out of here. You know,
Right.
I think that's necessary to change the tide of music. Like, again, I talked about Estero's Breath from Another. Estero's Breath from Another wasn't out of here in terms of sales. You know, neither was Reese's How I Do. I don't think Reese's How I Do didn't go gold. But if you talk to anybody from that era about an album that hit them and made them change the way that they thought of putting out an album or constructing an album or sequencing or landmark albums, everybody's gonna bring that album up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you want to talk about like sales wise, you could pull up an Usher album. You know what I'm saying? Like that's easy to do.
Yeah.
That's easy to do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's harder to go back and say, yo, what are these R&B albums that really changed, that people who were in it, you know, people that know were like, yes, and they pick it up, or they go back to their vinyl collection and they pull it out and they're like, this joint right here.
Yeah.
This joint right here.
This
You ain't got it
the
on
one
vinyl.
here.
You got that on vinyl? You know how hard that is to find? We live for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's why you notice I've been talking about Adriana Evans' CD, right? And the tape, right? You notice I haven't produced it yet, right? Do you know why? One, my brother has the CD. Smart man. He snaked it. And the cassette tape, which I did have at one point, was stolen by a girl. I don't even have the shit. That lets you know how dope this album is. Me, somebody who doesn't let go of anything for fear that I'm not gonna have it, lost both versions. I don't have any format of the album physically. And I'm sitting here talking about it. That lets you know how incredible the album is.
Yeah.
Bro, you see me pull out, I ain't got nothing. I haven't pulled out liner notes. I haven't pointed the vinyl. I don't have the vinyl. You know why I don't have the vinyl? Can't find the shit.
That's why at least only got the single. That's it. Like, it's really hard.
At least I put out the vinyl either.
Yes, it's hard to find that, yo. Like,
But you know what? This is an example of, you know, I hope my record store ain't watching, of when record stores don't know what they don't know what they got.
Yeah.
Because that was in the basement in the dollar bin.
Wow.
When I seen that, I got maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I seen that shit, I audibly gasped.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that that's probably the third time I've seen that cover without going to Discogs in my 46 years of life. That's how hard that joint is to find. Yeah. And when I found the single back in '97, dude, that shit got snatched too. I don't even have the single. And it was like the single with the cardboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Gone.
Wow.
As soon as I took it off the plastic, I remember playing it and people hanging around, snatched that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like people.
It grew feet, yo.
Yes, it grew feet. Let me tell you something. You knew something was dope when you have money out and they take the damn single. I had money out. And it was like, nah, you keep that.
Nah, we want the album.
I need this. I'll never forget that.
But my favorite on the album is Say You Won't and Love Is All Around. It's just
Say You Won't, yeah. That what you call it? I'm telling you, man. Got Andy on that flute, man.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Oh no, that's right. Calhoun. That's Rastine Calhoun is on the flute. I'm sorry.
So this album it's between 50 and 52 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
And usually the time for an album to have you play it over and over and over again, maybe like around 40 and 45 minutes, where you just play it again, flip it over, play it again, flip it over, play it again. And this album, you just keep it on a loop regardless.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, if you would ask me, like, what's wrong with the sequence of this album, I can't tell you. And I can't tell you a time where I ever skipped a song. I've never. And it's crazy because when I talk about like albums that are sequenced great, I have albums in my mind. I don't really bring this one up, but I should. And the crazy thing about it is the reason why I don't is because I don't remember having the cassette long enough to really appreciate the sequencing because I always had it on CD.
Right.
And so, and in terms of like, I've heard this album more on YouTube, especially recently that I don't have a physical copy, than I have playing it, because I played it to death back in between like 97 and 2001 to death between then. And you know, it's crazy because I would play this album like it just came out recently for like 5 straight years.
Wow.
Like, think
that's
people
a good album, man.
like, yo, when did this drop? I'm like, dog, this shit came out in 97. Like, how come I never heard of it? Because it got buried. Go back and look at 97. You done it. Why did this album neither single popped? We only saw the video sparingly. Like, Love Is All Around, that video got played in three places. And probably for like no longer than 3 months at the most.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
And she put out good music after this album.
After it.
Right.
And
yes.
Because y'all know how I love Distant Lady and Suddenly. But Suddenly, that song's special. Like, I wish people like knew about it then, because that's as our friend Renee would say, a song.
A song. Yes.
Pronounce it all.
Like, yes, because I mean, come on, because I'm telling you, like, Sim's gonna love this damn episode. I know he gonna love it because Dart went in, and y'all talk, because he always said how he's talking about Walking in the Night, and he's always talking about El Camino, and like he like, yo, she like, you know what?
Lost and Found.
Yes, Lost and Found. Like, he like screwed, like she basically said screw this after 97 and after this album wasn't received and the label wasn't behind her. She was like, I'm out. I'm going to Brazil. I'm going to, like she said in the interview, she was like, I wanted to love it again because the music industry made me not love music anymore.
Yeah.
So I had to leave and go find it. And I started getting, that's why a lot of these albums you hear in that Brazilian, you know, music in it, and that Brazilian flavor, because that's what she was. And she was like, I just do music because I love it. Because that industry shit, I tried to do it, and it didn't work. It didn't work for me. I did what you wanted, and y'all left me with nothing.
When you put out an album that rightfully should have been in the pantheon of great R&B albums of the era, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, then what other response can you have? Think about the response the fans had. I'm standing here talking about an album I don't even have. Like 25 years almost after the fact.
Right.
And I've been like, you know, in the morning with a flashlight, like, y'all heard this album? That's crazy, ain't it? That's wild. That's some Jodeci Fiendin type shit, but for music.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. Right.
He said, Adriana's been an hour since you've been gone. It's too long.
Here y'all go.
But really, like, go on YouTube, look at the video for Seeing is Believing, right? And then you go to look at the video for Love Is All Around. It's like they're trying to sell a jazz artist, somebody who does the Newport Jazz Festival, you know? Something like that. And it's like, again, I repeated it. This is what they did with Shantae Moore Differences. Shantae Moore took off. And so they were like, oh, okay, we got something with her. Let's go. Amel LaRue. Already had Group Theory as a springboard. So they were always going to push Amel because Amel was a name also because she was attached to, you know, Soulquarians and everybody else. So they were like, she's always going to be a commodity, even if she goes solo, puts out shit like Brave Bird, Infinite Possibilities. She was a critical darling. You're gonna see her in Billboard. You're gonna see her in CMJ. You're gonna see her in Ben. You're gonna see her in Vibe. You're gonna see her in The Source. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got it. With Adriana, you got a half-page ad every so often. At least it's in color.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And again, when I think it's blowing my mind when Elise pulled it up, I can't remember in all my years of record digging, and y'all know I do this. I haven't been doing it much with the pandemic and being busy doing everybody's book. I can't remember running across even an Adriana Evans 12-inch.
Wow.
Forget about finding the full album on vinyl. Like, you just fucked my head up with that. I'm like, yo, I haven't seen that. And I have this memory. I would know if I saw it. Also, if I saw it, I would have bought it. But like, yo, that shit has not come up. And I've run across some stuff that I didn't think that I'd ever find in the wild. I found Charizards and Mewtwo's in a vinyl during that time. I did not run across nary the Adriana Evans vinyl.
Yeah.
And come to think of it, I probably haven't found even like a used CD. Have I seen it? When I did see an Adriana Evans used CD, I was working at a place called CD Spins in Boston, and I had it. So I wasn't gonna go crazy over it. And it was like 2000. Damn, like, it's wild when I think about how rare that joint is. Like,
it's very rare. It's rare. Damn. Oh yeah. It's so rare. It's so, and it's just so it's like looking at your reaction to it, and hopefully everybody sees this, like how dope this album really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like, God is like, damn, I had the CD and the cassette, and I don't got it no more.
This is really a Richard Pryor looking in the rug, thinking that he saw some crack moment, ain't it? It's lit. It's not crack. It's lit. God damn.
Y'all, this album is amazing, as you can see.
Why are you like this?
No, because this episode gonna be like Charlene, you know? I'm basically Anthony Hamilton out this bitch. Damn.
He's a mess right now.
Yeah.
Can't eat, can't shave, can't live.
God
no,
damn.
you didn't.
This has been an hour of therapy. We ain't talking about the album. This has been an hour of therapy.
I did that. Oh God.
So, continuing in the vein of what else was out at the time, today's word association.
Oh boy.
Is going to be albums from women that were hot in '97. So we are going to start with, where I want to start. Well, we'll start with the obvious one, Baduism. What's a song or memory that first pops out when you hear Baduism?
I immediately think of just Badu, because it was selling the album, it was selling her, it was selling the aesthetic, and it created a phenomenon. And it's not a lyric, but the album's called Baduism, and her last name is Badu. And then the singles On and On come out, they blow up. Other Side of the Game has a video, a movie video that's played everywhere. Tyrone, which later ends up just cementing everything. The In Due Time video, like, Erykah Badu pretty much just owned 97 into 98. And that's some shit that we saw in the late 80s. Like, that's some
and it's so funny. She got a different like version technically of Other Side of the Game on every album.
Yes.
She reinterpolates it somehow.
Smart.
On every album.
And you right, Dark, because no, Elise gonna talk about it. I forgot. I was about to go somewhere, Elise. I was about to go somewhere. You would have been like, why?
Oh, go ahead. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Okay, no, because doing that, Erykah, like you said, she owned 97 and 98, right? So for me being a Mary lover, and Mary comes out with Share My World, I was like, this is guaranteed. I was like, Mary gonna get the Grammy. She gonna get, the American Music Awards. She gonna clean up at these awards. Erica cleaned the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like Mary got one.
Well, Jerry, you know how I feel about that album, though. I don't really care for that album.
I get it, but again, this is Mary going into that contemporary mainstream world, and they loving it, and I'm like, oh, this album sold 4 million. I was like, oh, she's in there. She's gonna get the Grammy. Erica came in there and said, oh, no, you're not. And Erica, every category that Erica was in with Mary, Erica won. Erica won the 2 Grammys. And Erica won the American Music Award when Mary got one, but still, Erica owned 97. She owned 97 and 98. Yeah.
And then next I was going to say Share My World. So that's a good segue into that was the next one.
The Share My World album is different for me because it was like the natural evolution of what they were going to do with Mary J. Blige. Like, I got it covered. You know what I'm saying? We need to get over there. And they went there and it worked. And Mary J. Blige became more than just the You Remind Me lady. You know what I'm saying? She became more than the 411 woman.
Yeah.
She became more than the girl who looked like Grand Pooba's little sister rapping with him. Mary J. Blige became an official international superstar off Share My World.
Yeah.
Yep. And it wasn't enough because Erykah Badu existed.
Yeah. Erykah Badu ate. Period.
She ate leaf and drank tea, but she ate. Y'all know what that's a reference to.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Another 97. Velvet Rope.
Woo! Okay. Janet Jackson is a master of reinventing herself and taking what's happening at the time and putting it in an album. And also, it's organic because it's what she's actually going through in her own life. So she's not looking what everybody else is doing and saying, all right, let me ride this wave, which we've seen artists do time and time again and trying to reinvent themselves. Every Janet Jackson album goes right parallel along with her life. The Velvet Rope was just proof that, yo, this shit ain't a fluke. This isn't by accident. This is what she does. And she's going to do it again, and she's going to do it again. You know, if you thought Control was, okay, Rhythm Nation, all right, Janet, whatever. Velvet Rope was like, all right. Because there were people who are hesitant to put her in the Madonna discussion, which is insane. Fucking bananas to me. But after this album, The Velvet Rope, you looked at Madonna and her as like, they're out there. They're gone. They're gone. You can't say Madonna, Janet. No, it's Janet and Madonna.
And you Madonna, know? That's right.
It's not Janet or Madonna. It could be both, but they're both taking it to other levels and going extreme. But if you have to, I'm picking Janet, but it is what it is. But that album, Velvet Rope, was the one that really secured it. It's not her riding waves or riding trends. It's her expressing and her creative team expressing what she's going through and how she's changing. And it's just managing to like mirror what's going on in the world and still resonating with a whole new group of fans. She gained new fans with each album, and the old fans were still along for the ride. And she pushed forward. Incredible, Velvet Rope.
Yeah,
man, listen.
All right. Janae's Saturday Night.
Okay, so when we think about
this one, here she goes.
We think about Janae. Janae, of course, everybody first heard Janae because they were down with KG. You know, everybody move your body, now do it. And they come out with the first album, pronounced Janae. And it's kind of a surprise because they're like, wait, KG from Naughty by Nature, who makes all these hard beats, managed to make this. And then when they put out this album, it's out of here because they're like, all right, they did it a second time, but not only that, they're not relying on the Flavor Unit aesthetic or that backing. It's them. People are coming for them, you know, and they're doing this. And when you look at the video, it's not like, okay, we fully expect to see Drez or the Black Sheep. We're looking for Queen Latifah. We're looking for the Rotten Rascals and the Road Dogs and the Jersey Troopers and what have you. We're not looking for all that, right? We're focused on them. And when they put out this album, it was all about them. And it was like, all right, it's us. This is what we do. This is our album. And we're going to put out a hit. And they did. And the thing is that album pretty much ended everything.
Yeah.
And that it was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
So it's bittersweet for me. Because it's like they finally showed, we got this. We had it.
Yeah. And with this album, I always tell Jay the story. My college roommate freshman year had this cassette, and she played it every night the whole first semester, and every day. So it's like ingrained in my head. Like I could sing every song word for word. I know every instrument come in, everything. It's because it was just soaked into me in my sleep. She played it every night in its entirety, and I love the album.
Cover. That back cover sure ended up selling the album. It ended up in magazines and places as press to promote the album, which was interesting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And
it was like all the testimony about the album. Yeah, y'all picked that picture.
So silly.
Pronounced Jeanette. Pronounced damn. I was there. I seen it. I was there.
You get my nerves. All right. The last one we're gonna go. Super Duper Fly.
Okay, so I go back with Missy to FaZe and Sister. I knew a girl who worked doing promo, and she had a Sister to all the sisters around the world black promo hoodie. And I was like, where'd you get that? I was like, you know who Sister is? It's like, yeah, brand new. It's like, wait, you know who Sister is? I'm like, yeah, I know who Sister is. I know who Missy Misdemeanor Elliott is. Like, I know when they came down from Virginia, like, because a cat from Boston, who now is known as Che Pope, formerly known as Che Guevara, went down to Virginia from Roxbury, encountered a bunch of people like this dude named DJ Timmy Tim, this kid named Magnum, the Verbal Lord, you know, and like all these other cats who ended up being Timbaland, Pharrell Williams, Chad, and he ran into the incomparable Teddy Riley down there and became one of his mentees also. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of springboarded his career. Then he ended up with Wyclef and everybody at the Boogie Basement later. But we would hear all these stories about what was going on in Virginia. So when she ended up with Devontae and Dalvin and them, and then finally they broke free of their shackles of servitude.
Hello.
Off my
One day
feet.
somebody gonna write about it. Someday somebody gonna write about it.
I'm waiting for that basement story.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. Because they was eating nothing but oodles and noodles, and that's it.
Yes. And when they finally broke through, and Timbaland who my brothers and I kind of suspected was behind some of them joints that was popping before, started getting out there, and Missy and Timbaland started blowing up. I was like, all right, we need that Missy album. When that Missy album came out, it was interesting for me because they were always pushing her as R&B, but also rap, but they kind of felt the need to define it. And this is right in this, 97 is the height of the backpack, indie, underground, independent as fuck rap era. So there's a lot of resentment and resistance to what Missy was doing.
Right.
And me, I'm super fly. She's not even rapping. And I'm like, whatever she's doing is dope. And I would be with my backpack boys and they just be like hating. I was like, what is this bullshit? And then I got home where the CD was and they wasn't. And I'm playing this shit like, oh, this shit is crazy. They're tripping. But, you can't go back out there where everybody listening to, Latyrix and Company Flow, whom I both love, and be like, yeah, y'all fucking around, y'all sleeping on that Missy, because then everybody's throwing their dirty do-rags at you. It's just what it is, But it's funny because later on, after the fact, we realized that all them dudes was listening to Missy's album too. But
right.
Super Duper Fly is crazy because it takes all the things that people like, what's her name? Raw Like Sushi, Nena Cherry, all the things Nena Cherry was doing, all the things people were doing, like mixing R&B and rap, and then meshing them together into something else that's undefinable, but still dope. And she took it to the next level with Timbaland and all these other artists who are gonna blow up later. And like, it's a landmark album. Like, it kind of changed the course of everything and made people rethink how things were going to be going forward. And it was a necessary album because it took a lot of people out their comfort zones and made a lot of people realize that they were being closed-minded. So that's how I feel about Super Duper Fly.
It shook things up. It gave you something different because things were starting to get homogenized, and it's just like,
But also, this is the beginning, 96, 97 going in. Another thing we talk about the what was going on. The radio got invaded and the radio got taken over, and it was never the same. When you listen to the radio, everything was Timbaland, everything was Neptunes, or somebody who was trying to sound like them, or just trying to get in where they fit in. And then later, when we go into 97, 98, then everything was Swizz Beatz, Dame Grease, or Manny Fresh.
Right.
And it was hard, or Beats by the Pound, KLC, Moby Dick, what have you.
97,
or
Trackmasters.
Or Trackmasters,
Or Sean.
Or Sean.
Oh, yes.
And them.
And them.
Just and them.
And just and them. Right. And them.
So basically, when you looked at the charts and listened to the radio, that was it. And if you wasn't them or employing them, you was ass hell. You were pretty much ass hell. So when we talk about what happened with Adriana Evans and all these other women that were also on the same label at the same time, and the fact that the album should have come out in 95, I got my answer. I know I can finally rest understanding what went wrong with this incredible album and why it didn't pop.
You ain't never lied.
And also the sad thing is that what y'all just pretty much laid out for me was it didn't really have a shot in 97 at all. Because the people that they did push, the people that they push behind, the people they did promote didn't pop either. So it is what it is.
Terrible, y'all. That's just horrible, y'all.
This is our sad episode.
It is. It is.
Otherwise, we was bopping around and
but we solved the cold case. That's the good thing.
We did, because it was just like, and I was just like, when Dog was going in, I'm just like, no, and no. That's why I was so quiet, because I was like, he right.
Damn. And then when you brought in the other parts, I was like, because, good Lord, it's like, it hit me all at once. It's like, oh shit, there's the answer. And then again, Yvette Michelle, 97, Davina, 98. All the promotion, all the push, all the guest appearances, nothing.
That's right, because Davina, what did she have on? Was it Raekwon? Did she have on? Okay, yeah.
Damn it, man. Damn it.
Damn.
Oh my God. Shit.
Well, what can you do? My way back machines in the shop, so I can't save Adriana's album.
Yeah. But even though watching this, y'all see how crazy we went. Y'all need to go listen to that album for real. And then check out the Planet Groove joint. You know what I'm saying? That whole thing. Shout out to Sin. You gonna love this episode, bro, for real. But go check out that joint on YouTube. You can see how dope Adriana is. Like, she's dope, man. And that album is classic.
On streaming, this album's not on there, but her later stuff is. And that shit's dope too. In fact, if you don't go listen to nothing else, go listen to Suddenly by Adriana Evans. You don't listen to nothing else.
Yes.
But yeah, so Dart, what you got? Because you always got some dope ass shit popping. What you got popping?
So again in Boston, we just had our mayoral election. So I did a bunch of coverage of the mayoral election. I'm in a documentary about the mayoral election. It will come out in 2022. I believe it's called The Boston Revolution. I did a piece about the preliminary mayoral election in which we had 3 Black candidates and none of which made it to the final election, and I'm breaking down why that didn't happen, and that's going to be released in the December issue of Boston Magazine. I finishing up the book I told y'all about before, Instead We Became Evil. Finishing that up finally, gonna get it all situated so it can go to press, have the galley copies and everything come back for 2022. Wrapping that up. Again, the book that I helped my boy Shea Serrano and Arturo Torres do ended up becoming a New York Times bestseller, Hip Hop and Other Things, which was released October 26, 2021. It's a New York Times bestseller. So what that means is, for me doing fact checking, the price has gone up. Great thing for me.
Today's price and yesterday's price.
Yeah. So what's hilarious is I fact checked another big book that's going to be coming out on hip hop. I'm not going to talk about yet until it's official, and the date's official. But I did that under previous pricing because it hadn't come out yet. So anybody who's hit me up now, y'all not getting the price today. Isn't the price
yesterday? It was not yesterday's price.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna say, better buy my Ricky jersey. Yeah. Price going up also, now.
November 19th. There is a book called. Matter of fact, where is it? There is a book about hip hop producers. Wait.
Boy, got.
Let me find it.
Love it, yo.
Oh, that's your friend.
Books. Yo.
Beats by Design, an illustrated inventory of the most important hip hop producers, Volume 1. It is written by a man named Stefano Marinelli, also known as J.O.D., and it says forward by Dart Adams. This is the paperback version, which has been out since October 4th, 2021. However, November 19th, 2021, the hardcover version of this, and also the incredible Kindle Unlimited version, which is only $7.99, is going to be available. And the thing is, this is one of the best-selling books out on Amazon right now. And it's going to be huge for the holiday season. It's one of the most requested. And again, I did the foreword where I talk about the magic of rap production and how it was like alchemy and magic and what have you. So that's happening. And that all, and other stuff I've signed NDAs for and I can't go into detail about. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All I can talk about right now.
Today's price is not yesterday's price. That's what Dart basically saying.
But yeah,
I do love that, like, that things are actually happening. But if we want to talk about books and music, good Lord. Good Lord. Like, I'm reading this and I'm just like, yeah, Mm-hmm. Yep. I've talked to people in the book world and literary agents about things like this, and they're like, but what else is out there that's doing well like that? Because we can't really sell that. And thank you, Amir, for doing this, because you have opened the door for other people to be able to put books out like this, because there's an audience. You've proven it. Just like the book I'm doing, again, I told y'all it is about Palestinian. It's about a Palestinian refugee who leaves Lebanon and then ends up in Germany, leaves Germany, goes to Denmark, and becomes a hip hop artist, but was a gang member. And is famous all throughout his teen years for being a gangster, and turns his life around and deals with everything imaginable, right? This book is something that people look at and they're like, yo, what else is out there like that? You know, like, how do you explain this book? So us putting this book out there and getting it out to people, and we got to figure out like who exactly to send it to and everything else to show there's an audience for it. But the success of this book will make it so that other people can tell similar stories. Because right now, the refugee story or the immigrant story is one-sided, and it only comes in one flavor.
One flavor.
Just like the albums we're talking about, how they changed the landscape of music and influenced everything that came forward. If somebody doesn't put this album out, someone doesn't make this single, someone doesn't sing this way, someone doesn't do this or use this instrumentation or not use it or sing in this manner, other people don't feel comfortable doing it because it's not out there in the market and it hasn't been proven as acceptable or being dope. Same principle applies to music and art in general. And that's just what I'm all about.
Yes, we love it.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for hanging out with us once again.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you for the audience for always tuning in and yes. Thank y'all for always tuning in and supporting us and sharing everything and joining in on the conversation. We definitely appreciate it because we love doing this. Like it's never a chore. We always get excited. So yes. So we'll just catch y'all on the next Catch That.
One.